Hey everyone, my name is Jason Filer, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to the 7th episode of The Afterglow, the series where I'll be interviewing big names in the barbershop harmony world and try and uncover the secrets behind their music. For this episode, I'm elated to have on the 2019 Barbershop Harmony Society Johnny Appleseed District Quartet Contest champions and 2024 International Quartet Contest semifinalists Trademark.
To me, here's a little knowledge, and it's quite good, oh so good. Maybe it won't help you, but it should. Is that understood? You can't go places unless you know. You learn all they would say, yes, I stress that educational, inspirational, most sensational, yes. Now here comes
Trademark is a standout barbershop quartet known for their exceptional sound and charismatic performances. With their innovative approach and perfect blend of voices, Trademark has been making waves in the barbershop world, bringing a fresh perspective to a beloved tradition. So, there's no reason to wait any longer. Get ready to be inspired as I sit down with Matt, Keith, Kyle, and Chris. It's Trademark. Trademark, how's it going? Thank you for being here.
Hey.
Get the merch. Keep the merch.
All right, it's going great. Yes, we'll talk about all that kind of stuff. I have the pleasure of being with Trademark, our semifinalist quartet from this past convention. This is very exciting for me, and I hope that people are excited to hear a lot of stuff about you guys as a group inside and outside of the contest. So we'll just begin very briefly with a little bit of introductions in terms of how you got into barbershop and what led you to this moment. So how about Matt? We'll start with you.
Sure. In 2004, I attended Singing Buckeyes Harmony Camp. Local barbershop chorus from the Cleveland, Ohio area sponsored my attendance to that camp in 2004. And I went and I fell in love with barbershop. It was like a 3-day camp, and I sang in a chorus. And Steve Kovach, who's the baritone of Uptown Sound, was directing the chorus at the time. I met a lot of really great people. Fell in love with the harmony, came back to my high school, started my own quartet, and kind of the rest is history in terms of barbershop. I've been involved ever since. I joined the society right after that, and so 20 years this year I've been doing barbershop, so pretty awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you. Chris, how about you?
I got into barbershop through a friend. I'm a pharmacist, and during one of my rotations, the guy that actually invited me to go to it was called the Pride of Indy now, it's CCS, and just kind of really just fell in love with it. Just kind of at that moment, I was looking for something to do after college.
You went to college?
I did.
It doesn't show.
Used to me.
I just fell in love. I mean, he became a lifelong friend, was the best man at our wedding. So like lifelong friendships have developed in barbershop, and but really just that first moment where I just knew that I just loved the sound.
Great, awesome. All right, Kyle, how about you?
I was my high school choir teacher. Senior year, going back a bit, I play guitar, and so that was my musical entrance, I guess, where I decided I love music and I loved chords, and never saw myself as a singer really, but my high school choir teacher was Gary Lewis from Max Q, Platinum, Quorum, and many other accolades. And so my senior year, I was like, I don't really sing, but I should probably learn how to before I go to school next year, college, and study music. So started singing, and he brought in Max Q one year to sing for a fundraiser. And I was like, wow, that's really good. Too bad
Not bad.
That was decent.
Not bad.
But that interestingly wasn't the moment where I was like, oh, I'm in. I want to sing barbershop. It was really good. I mean, it was so cool. But it was watching American Harmony one day in my choir class, which I think he still does every year. But something about seeing like the convention and people screaming and watch the quartets and like the behind the scenes, and I just like loved the competition aspect combined with music. I just thought that was super fun. So something about that, at that point I was like, wow, that was cool. I really missed the boat on singing in a quartet in high school. But after that, moved to Nashville and just jumped in head first. So I really have Gary to thank for opening my eyes to how great barbershop is.
You keep saying this
You know who that is? I don't know.
I'll introduce you to him someday.
Okay.
He's a great guy.
All right.
Yeah.
And Keith, how about you?
Yeah, so I had been singing my whole life. Grew up singing in choirs and doing a lot of theater. Was in school at the time to study voice. I went to Lindenwood University in St. Charles, Missouri, and the circles that I ran in, you know, a lot of performing arts. My buddy Ian Richardson introduced me. He and another friend of ours, Kurt Pfeiffer, we would sing in the parking lot. They would teach me tags, and of course, I'm just doing it because I like to sing. But you know, they're doing it because they're on the hunt for a baritone at the time. So I remember that time when Ian's like, "Oh, he might be a good baritone," and that feeling of like, "You want me for your thing?" That was really like a great thing. And then a couple years into my college career, because I went to school in St. Charles, Missouri, that's also the home of the Ambassadors of Harmony. So Ian was a front row singer dancer for the Ambassadors. They needed a dancer for their upcoming set, and he taught me a lot of the moves, brought me into rehearsal, and all the things that we were learning in school for, you know, theater and performing arts just melded really well with barbershop, and it was just instantly I got folded in. And what a group to be folded into. So that was like a crash course in barbershop for sure.
And we give Keith a lot of guff, which really we're just jealous, but we always say that he just like walked into a gold medal with the Ambassadors of Harmony.
My first year.
It was their 2009 76 trombone set, and if you watch the guy that's like watching the trombones go by, and he did amazing. I mean, he rocked it on the front row. But
thanks.
we're really just jealous.
But I just happened to be
First
in St.
contest.
Charles, Missouri. Like,
Right.
where is
First
that?
international wins a gold medal. Hashtag spoiled.
Spoiled, yeah.
Yes.
Get you one.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
All right, cool. Thank you for all those introduction kind of stuff. So, now that we know a bit about you individually, how did Trademark happen? What brought the original 4 members of Trademark together, and then now, how does it differ from what it looks like today? So, anyone who has any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I can, whatever I can do.
Yeah, so Keith and I have been singing together for 10 years. So we sang in a quartet called Speakeasy. We're the 2017 JAD champs. So we sang 2017 and 2018 internationals. And the chorus that we belong to when Keith used to live in Cleveland, the Men of Independence, which is Gary Lewis's chorus, did a combined show with the Kentucky Vocal Union, which Chris was a member of. So Chris was singing in a quartet called the Rooftops at the time with James Pennington, and they were singing a song called Sweet Pea, and that was one that Keith and I both knew from Speakeasy.
I forgot about that.
So we found Chris after the show, and we sang Sweet Pea with him and James, and we loved it. And Keith and I were like, one day we're going to sing with Chris. And down the line, we met at every international. We stayed friends. We stayed in touch. And when the time came to form a new quartet, we were like, we know who our bass is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird because we wouldn't see him for a year at a time.
Yeah.
And convention would roll
Just
through.
meet up at internationals like at least twice, if
Yeah.
not more than that.
Like, what you doing?
Yeah, I think that show was in like 2014, 2015, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I remember having lunch with him in Vegas in 2017, and it was like the second time I'd ever met him, but you know, we were friends and we had lunch together. And
We already had a song.
Yeah, and we already knew one song together. So I remember thinking, you know, Keith and I were living in Cleveland together at that time, but then Keith had moved to Dallas, and so we continued to sing together in Speakeasy while he was in Dallas, but it was just kind of, it was tough. And so like trying to figure out our next endeavor, and we're like, well, Chris is in Indy. If we're going to do a long distance thing, like now's the time. And our original baritone, Brandon, lives in Cleveland as well. And so Brandon and I would drive to Indy, and Keith would fly in from Dallas, and we started this whole thing. But yeah, it was kind of several years in the making. Meeting Chris on that show definitely is the only reason that we're together. So that's what I'll say is how we met and how we formed.
And then we got Kyle later.
Yeah, so Brandon got a promotion at work and had 2 young ones, and it was tough to be away for weekends. So he decided to step down. It was also during COVID, so there wasn't really anything going on, and he really needed to focus on work and his family at that time.
And we started the process of looking for baritones, and it's daunting. Like, first of all, who are you to be auditioning baritones? Like, first of all, we said we were going to go through an audition process, and we already felt like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But really, we had friends in Northeast Ohio, we had friends in Indianapolis and Cincinnati, I mean, just all over. And so we split our time. We ended up doing it over 2 weekends where we sang with a lot of different guys to see what would be the best fit. And there were a lot of people that we sang with that, hey, personalities jive, maybe the voices didn't, or vice versa. I remember, I'm like, what if we got Kyle Snook? Because we had known Kyle from years prior.
Yeah, we all lived in Cleveland. The three of us lived in Cleveland at the same time. We actually sang in the Men of Independence together
years prior
in Toronto International. We were all in the risers together, and then
years passed. And so I'm like, what if we could get Kyle? But I thought Kyle was way better than what he is. So I remember
it's like barbershop famous. Kyle
I mean, everybody knew Kyle, and I'm like, oh man, can we get Kyle? I don't know if it's gonna happen. And so I texted Kyle like, I want you to sing in a quartet with me, or something like that. Again, that same thing that I just talked about that feeling that somebody wants me in a quartet with you. It's a great feeling. So I like leveraged that. I'm like, Kyle, sing with me, and he's like, oh, I don't know.
I was in a Whole Foods shopping for groceries. Keith Parker has not texted me in 7
6
years.
Yeah.
And it goes, Kyle, and I said, hello, Keith. He asked what I was doing. I said I was at Whole Foods, and that was our conversation for the night. And I was like,
okay.
I was like, that was so
Just
random.
laying the groundwork.
And then the next day, he goes, I want to sing in a quartet with you. And I was like, okay, you piqued my interest.
Okay, coming on strong, but take me to dinner first.
So then auditioned, and we've been singing together since summer of 2021. So about 3 years at this point.
Yeah. Like we sang with a lot of great people in those auditions. Like we did a weekend in Indy for people who were closer there, and we did a weekend in Cleveland for people who were closer there, and everyone was really, really good.
Yeah.
But the thing that like stood out about Kyle is like immediately when we sang with him, we sounded like us, and it wasn't like we were trying to like
manufacture.
We were trying to find anything like immediately right off the rip. We sounded like the same quartet, and we knew we could hit the ground running, and that was kind of
that really helped.
That was the deciding factor, and plus like. We like Kyle. We knew Kyle. We had a history with.
I mean, we've been. How long
so,
have we been together as this formation?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. The four of us. Yeah. So this is our.
Like
we were formed in 2018. So, we made it through COVID and like stayed active, and were able to get together a few times, and it just kind of, it was a difficult time. Luckily, we had some momentum going into COVID. We had just won the district, and we wanted to.
Skin of our teeth.
Yeah, by 2 total points.
We had just won the district. And
we had some momentum, and we used that to kind of carry us through COVID, and had some new plans and got some arrangements and all that kind of stuff that kept us moving forward.
We often think about how different life would have been for us as a quartet if those 2 points overall points that we won the district had been different, right?
Yeah.
Because we ended on a high note. We kind of didn't have our best hit the first night. Long story short, it was kind of a comeback for us, and it was not necessarily expected.
We were in third on night 1, and
and
then had a great final set that pulled us ahead. Which there were some really great quartets in there.
Yeah.
And
then COVID hits, right? And we're thinking, boy, I'm so like freaking lucky and thankful that we won, because thinking about going through 2 off years to try to get back in the cycle to do what you want to do, which is at that time to win district. That was like a big goal of ours. It could have been a really big setback for us. Like, who knows if we would have had the same.
I don't know if we would have made it really.
forward direction,
like the
right?
same sort of thing, because we didn't really have. Would we have had the impetus? I don't really know.
Ooh, he said impetus. They make a pill for that.
College.
He went to college.
I went to college.
yeah, but I think that definitely really helped in terms of our trajectory and our our confidence and motivation moving forward was, hey, we got to keep going. We want to get back to international. We got our highest score ever at that district when we won. We want to take it to international, and
we've had a series of goals that have kind of, because we are long distance, right? We have to have something that keeps us excited, and at the outset it was winning district. Before then it had been getting to international. Recently it has been getting into the 20, right? So getting a second night in front of people. So we're still trying to find what those, and they're not always competition related. Those all happen to be competition related. We're still trying to find what those really exciting projects are that keep you moving forward. And especially, like I said, long distance comes with its own pluses and minuses, but
Yeah. Trying to find little things throughout the years to look forward to and to have goals for is really important. We often talk about what are our goals for the year. You know, when your main goal happens one time a year, you get one stab at making the 20. You've got to have some other things along the way that kind of keep you going. And so whether that be new arrangements, doing shows, you know, starting to talk about a CD project, those types of things are
soft launch.
Soft launch, yeah. No, you know, it's something we're thinking about. It's, you know, you have these goals as a group, and when you're putting so much time, you know, it takes a lot of work just for the four of us to get together. You want to really have some guided goals to keep you focused and driven in between internationals, really.
We haven't let him ask any questions. It's just been one thing goes right to the next concept to the next. Yeah, well.
I mean, that's great. I mean, I love hearing about all that kind of stuff. So you'd mentioned a little bit about auditioning lots of different people. So the question on everyone's mind is, who is the worst? I'm totally
honestly,
Kyle.
You know, honestly, no one comes to mind, and that's not me being politic, because
no, it's not. They were all great.
They were all really good, and that went back to that whole who the hell are we to be like auditioning. The last time I had heard about a quartet auditioning someone was Quorum. And I asked Puck, hey, can I audition? Puck, I texted Puck and I said, hey, I heard you guys are looking for a baritone or whatever. And he put me down in the nicest way possible. He's like, you keep doing what you're doing, buddy. But that was kind of my previous experience with a quartet auditioning someone. So it sounded, even the concept.
You've never been in that position before where like, hey, we love what we're doing here. We don't want to stop. And so how do we best find the next person? And it was less about us being like, well, we want to find the very best singer. We're super picky. We
had tons of goals. We were like, we want somebody who has the same amount of free time. Like, we know going into it long distance, you have to be able to do X, Y, Z. And if you can't, that's fine. You have to have the same ambitions that we do. Like, we kind of go round and round in rehearsals sometimes. Like, we really care enough to where we'll go at it a little bit because we have the same goals musically, right? So we had a lot of things. We wanted the voice to be a fit. We want to be able to chop it up and like have a beer with the dude and be able to have a good time. So that's a lot that you're trying to. It's like picking a significant other or something. Like, there's a lot of things on your list.
3.
And we settled for Kyle. So if you guys know a good baritone,
we don't need
Instagram handle is.
No, but I mean, we don't see each other a ton of times throughout the year. I mean, it's usually about once a month between shows, competitions, rehearsals, all of that stuff. But it's really a lot compressed into a short amount of time. So like, yeah, like he said, there are like times where we get at each other. There's times where, we're really locked in and focused, and we're really compressing a lot of stuff into a short period of time, either with coaching sessions or, trying to find a new song to sing or whatever it is.
It didn't start that intense, but it was kind of, I mean, we knew going into it that we would want to get to that level. And Kyle's really helped us too with like, hey, I'm going to bring some recording equipment and we'll record this and then we'll listen back. Just different ways in rehearsal to hold ourselves accountable and go toward that same goal that we all have of making the best possible music.
Right.
Yeah.
Kyle's been a big help with that as well, being an arranger. He's done a lot of our stuff recently. 3 of our 4 songs from Cleveland were Kyle's, and that's been kind of a game changer for us. Learning tracks as well. He cranks out for us, and having an arranger in-house is really nice. Is someone who knows your voice, knows your strengths, knows your weaknesses.
He arranges. He does learning tracks. He slices, dices. He juliennes fries. Just all over. Jack of all trades.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's been
fun. So I like you mentioned that. So Kyle, what has it been like for you as an arranger who's coming to this quartet and been able to have a group where it's like, I got this arrangement, let's sing this, and be able to have them sing that kind of stuff and be able to hear it and then even be able to perform it at the international level? What's that like for you? And then also be able to sing with that group.
Yeah, it's the coolest thing ever. I've learned so much just from doing it, like trying to arrange something and then hearing it in real life. And every time there's something that doesn't go as well as I thought it would, like it's a trap or it just doesn't quite work. And then there's always something that goes totally fine that I thought was going to be an issue. So you're always just like, I wonder. So you're just always learning more about the voices and the personalities, and eventually just stumbling on stuff that works really well and some stuff that maybe doesn't work so well. So it's super cool. It's very fun. It's admittedly selfish because like I can get inspired by a song and then go, we should do it. And we don't have to ask anyone. I'll just do it and then it'll be done and we can sing it. So yeah, it's been so cool. Like I feel like almost guilty that I get to do it, but I'm really grateful that they have been willing to try and sing stuff. And in the beginning, it's like I had no idea what I was doing. I was just starting from the bottom, and
Now here.
we sang stuff, and it worked. So yeah, it's super fun, and I just love that we can always text each other, and I get song ideas from all of them. Like, what do you think about this? This is a cool song, and so I'm constantly listening to stuff through the filter of like, would this work for Trademark?
We have a shared Spotify playlist of just like song inspiration, and that helps just to have like a place that we can all throw it at one place.
Yeah, and it's for this quartet in particular, like beautiful falsetto tenor, super low bass, really charismatic lead. Like I can and I'm here too. Like it's just very fun. That's a fun group to arrange for. So I feel very, very lucky.
Well, I made the analogy earlier that like this is a little bit like a relationship. Kyle just told us that he's lucky to have us as an arranger when we're clearly like making out on the deal. Like he's arranging all of our songs. That means it's working well if we all feel like we're getting the best like side of the deal. That's magic, right?
And once they pay me, it's gonna be great.
Once we get
Yeah.
Wait, are you charging us for your what's your arranger fee?
It's a really cool thing. I think one thing that I've like noticed as I've been in barbershop a little bit longer is like you fall in love with like your hero singing these songs and you want to sing their songs, and that's often like a trap because you never can do it the way that you want to or the way that you're used to hearing it, and it's just like make your own identity. And that's been like successful for us, I think, like singing our own music. And you know, we heard like, you know, we were on the bubble of like getting to 80s or whatever. It was like, don't do covers anymore. Don't sing what somebody else has already done at a 95. Sing something that's going to be fresh and exciting and new. And that's what Kyle's helped us with, is to find some stuff that hasn't been done before, a new twist on something, you know, a brand new song.
And again, not to make it all about economics, but it's really hard. Like, it's almost a privilege for us to say, and I know that's not what you meant by it, but like to say, go get new music, because it's not easy. It's not cheap. We've commissioned songs before that didn't end up on the stage at all. Like we spend however much money on the arrangement, the time spent learning, the money on the tracks. You get it underneath you, and you're like, this is not a good vehicle for us. No shade to anybody involved, and that all of that effort and money is not free in any respect. So I understand, like, if I was listening to myself now from 6-7 years ago when I was aspiring to be where I am now, I would have been like, yeah, good friggin' luck, buddy. But, you know, again, that's why we're grateful for Kyle. But you know, like, even if you are singing covers, like, try to find something off the beaten path, right? There are still songs out there.
Yeah. And all that said, it's also like, I'm not sure that any of us could sit here and be like, this is the type of song that we can kill. Like, we can't like quantify it. We
surprise
like
ourselves.
You gotta try some stuff. Like, you may not love it right off the rip, but it ends up being like a song that fits you like a glove.
Here's an example. We used to always sing rhythm tunes. A lot of times, and largely before Kyle joined, but even afterward, our identity was like this kind of slow burn rhythm song. It's still a strength for us. One of our highest scoring songs from Cleveland was still one of those types of charts, but we really had to be cognizant of like finding every song to fit that mold. So it can be a strength. It can also be a hindrance. Like, try new things. I know Matt, that's what Matt meant. Like, try new stuff.
And it's also like the next new song you learn is automatically at the level that you're at. like you sing it at a new level because you hold it to a higher standard while you're rehearsing it, you're learning it, all that stuff. It's just good for you to get a lot of good stuff, like new stuff, extra, like new arrangements, new music for the quartet.
We used to have, we had to kind of develop our view on that, because especially when you're long distance and you've got one shot at the big show, there's a pressure to sing your best material, right? Go out with the thing that you're strongest on. It might be older stuff, but I really fell in love with this new song. It might be a little rougher. Where do you put your energy in rehearsal and those things? And every quartet's obviously going to be different. We found for ourselves that a lot of that, just like Matt said, that new song, just the energy and excitement you're going to have behind it, coupled with the skills you already have from your old rep, is automatically to bring that new song up. So that's just more reason to say, try the new song, even though it's safer to pick the tried and true.
Do your work on it. Don't be underprepared, like the new stuff is fresher, it's more exciting, the performance is more genuine, like all that stuff. And that, like that, honestly, the little bit of nervous energy is good. If you can like harness it and keep it under control, like the excitement of this is new, there's a little bit of risk involved, like that's good. Being vulnerable for the audience is good. And I think we found some of that this year.
Absolutely. We've debuted new music a lot, and it always has a certain feel to it. Like, man, I can't wait for them to hear this song. Mm-hmm. And they can feel that too.
Yeah. I feel like that kind of started last year. Like we sang a song that we had never rehearsed, all four of us together. We sang it in front of people. Like it was just like
not at international.
Not at international, but we did a run of it like we're supposed to be off paper. We're meeting, we're singing, and then like an hour later we had a show.
Yeah.
And we just sang it on the show.
It forced
and it was
us,
it was really exciting. It was nerve-wracking, but it came off well, and it forced us to be better than we maybe would have been without doing it. So that kind of stuff is good for you, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's backtrack just slightly. This can be as long as a story as you want or as short of a story as you want, but I'm interested to know how the name came about.
I'm out on this one.
Yeah. We
or Chris, go Chris.
I can't even remember the other one.
Limited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we knew some things that we wanted. We looked at a lot of different names. We looked at. I really wanted to be the Rum Runners. I thought that would have been really cool. That got vetoed. Quickly, yeah. We really loved the punch of like a one-word quartet name. So we kind of looked at a bunch of different versions, and we kind of came across this idea of like, like when a car comes out and they only make a certain number of them, like a limited edition, but we want it to be one word. What about limited? So we thought about being limited for a while, and that was like our working
title, yeah.
For a while. And then family, who were trying to be nice at the time, but they finally went, Dad,
not so
do you
much.
know what it sounds like when you say that you're limited? And we were like, oh, I didn't even think
like
of the most
like,
common yeah. So we were this close to being limited.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then we just worked through a couple other names, and we were actually very shocked that Trademark was available when we came up with it. And
it was signature was already taken at the time, so it was like.
But Sean Devine actually was in a quartet that was registered as Trademark back in the day, and then the registration fell off, and it was available. And we doinked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, let it lapse. It's not an accident.
He let it lapse.
But
and we think it fits, right? Because every quartet would like to say that they have a specific sound, or they have something about them that makes them stand out. That's everybody's goal as a performer and as an artist. But we do know, there are some things that we bring to the table that do sound different, whether you like that or not. Sometimes it might not be everybody's taste, but at least it's going to sound like us every time. And so we think that's very apropos.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So let's look at the competition cycle this past year. So how has, now that semifinalists, that's awesome. Has your rehearsal style or rehearsal process changed, like leading up to that, or was it just more of the same, just getting up there, or was there anything where you're like, we're gonna do this differently that actually paid off?
For sure.
Yeah, I have an idea.
Yeah.
I think there are probably a few things, but I think our mindset was different this year. I think I'm type A personality, probably type A personality, and so there's a lot of like thinking, analyzing, fixing all the time, and we don't have both feet in the letting go, fully performing mode. So I think we really said we want to change that. We really want to be a quartet that can just like let it fly. We're not thinking and impact the audience more. So one of our coaches, Blair Brown, she really brings that out of us, and we, before prelims, got with her on Zoom just like this for like 30 minutes before both of our hits, and just that alone, we felt like, wow, that was like the most free that I felt, that we have felt as a unit. And so we've worked with her a handful of times, and she always gets us back into that place. So I think our mindset was just different from the jump, where we just like, let's turn off the thinking and let it fly. It's one thing.
Yeah, she has this way of like helping you to focus on the right things while also making you feel so good about yourself, like in like the fewest possible words. Like just, she's one of those people that makes you feel like you're the only person in the room. Like she just builds you up and then like gets you focused on everything that's important.
I love that.
And allows you to trust, like we've been together for 6 years. Like we've done a lot of work on the technical stuff, and being able to trust in that process and trust in our preparation and let go of everything, that you're gonna have performance flubs. You're gonna have a breathing problem at some point. You're gonna get like a little wad of spit somewhere you didn't want it. Like just letting go of those little things, you're only ever gonna get a percentage of what you want to get on stage. And for that percentage that you're gonna get, making it be outward and for the audience is really something that she's helped us with and gotten us focused on the right thing. Because if you're thinking up there, you've already lost. Like there's no connection with the audience. There's no.
And it wasn't a new concept. I mean, we've had so many good coaches. We go to a coaching intensive once a year. We've talked to a lot of great performance people who have all said different versions of the same thing. I don't know why this clicked for us. It might have been the timing for us as well, having been just outside of the 22 years prior, really, really feeling a little bit set back by that, but also humbled and hungry. And so there's just some confluence of things that happen. And then like you said, least amount of words possible. Keith, what would happen if you just were like, wait, you believed it more? Like, and she'll just say that, and we'll try running it again. It'll just be better. So, I don't know.
Like, you're saying these words for the very first time. Like, while we've rehearsed this a million times, you're singing a song because you're telling somebody something. Whether it's a room of people or one individual person, you're telling them something, and you're coming up with this lyric in real time. It's not something that's rehearsed. You're not reciting something. It's kind of like the musical thing. Like, words won't do it justice. I have to set this to music. This emotion is so overwhelming that just saying it isn't enough. I've got to sing it. I've got to sing it to you. So that kind of like freshness is something that she helps us with.
And even though these are all performance things, we saw our other scores go up as well. So we were just happy to see a lot more consistency across the board. So we can't say enough good things about that coaching from Blair. So
yeah.
She's just like, just like when we auditioned and got Kyle, it was like with her, it's just something about her that fits with us and the things that she can say to us and make us do things differently and better. Like he said, you've heard it a million times, but if the right person says it
in her way,
with her genuine appreciation of what's happening in the moment, then it's completely different and it motivates you because of the way she is. We love her.
You might have to cut some of
way.
that. There's like, you're gonna scrub through, and this is the 20 minutes that we talked about Blair.
Right. But I mean, even when we worked with her in like a little conference room in Cleveland across from Harmony Marketplace, like prior to stage both times, and just like coming to that room knowing we had 30 minutes, half an hour, whatever with her was like invigorating. Like it was like, it's a long week. There's a lot of like stop and start and like trying to keep your energy up and trying to stay focused, and like it's rejuvenating to have like a quick like pump up session with her where you get refocused, recalibrated, you start feeling really good about what you're doing and
Shadowboxing.
all of that stuff. Yeah, like it's really awesome. And the only reason we know her and have a relationship with her is because of JAD's Top Gun. They brought her in. We had an amazing 1.5-hour session with her, and we're like, we need more of that. And so we were able to, you know, send her a message and say, hey, we loved our session with you. Would you be able to work with us again and again? You know.
So
like,
if there's like a
all
takeaway,
that stuff.
right? Like the Top Gun, we worked with 4 or 5 different coaches. They rotate them every year. So we've seen 15, 20 coaches in the course of our history.
They're
And
all
then
amazing.
when it hits, and we've taken things absolutely from every one of them, and we come back to some of them multiple times. But get in front of as many different ears as you can, not even like just judges and coaches, but just people that love the craft, because somebody you'll vibe with someone.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
vibes.
Right.
Cool. So it seems like she's pretty cool then.
Yeah.
She's fine.
Yeah. So now that, you know, I can't even imagine how awesome it must have felt to hear the call off and hear your names get called and just be able to know you're singing the second set here and you're gonna crush it, obviously. But was there any sort of like added pressure of being like, wow, we've made it this far, we gotta deliver? Was it just more of like, we're just having a good time now that we've got here? What did that feel like?
Yeah. It's not like we were gonna get a third night. We were in no danger of singing. So at that point, like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be a few points more or less. At least that's how I thought of it.
Yeah, I wondered if there would be though. I definitely thought, I don't know, just knowing there's more people there, maybe they're gonna hold you to a higher standard or something. But I didn't feel that for me personally, and I don't think that we did as a quartet. It felt like because of the last couple of years we have been close. And people, whether they're just being nice or they're being honest, have been like, "Oh, I thought you were in the 20, man." So we just have felt like we were just that close to actually being there. So, in the most humble way, it was like, "Yes, finally!" Like I feel like we deserve to be here, and I feel really proud of what we've done. And for me, it was just like joyful. In fact, whenever the videos come out, I think when we walk on stage, if they show it, like Chris and I are just like, yeah, like we're just excited just to be there.
Yeah.
Like our hands are just open, we're hooting and hollering.
Same stage,
We haven't
same-
sung a note yet. Like we were just like, oh, it feels so good.
Yeah.
Never worked so hard to sing 4 songs.
Right.
Yeah, and we're all like genuine lovers of barbershop. We know a lot about history. We love so many quartets that have, you know, been in this position and gone higher, and we just aspire to that. And it just feels so honorable to be in that position. I think that's the way it felt to me, was like, I can't believe this. You know, you have a lot of disbelief, but it just feels incredible. It felt incredible.
Yeah.
It did.
It was a very proud moment for all of us, I think. Just like we've all been doing this for a long time. Like I've been doing it for 20 years. He's been doing it for longer. And, you know,
Yes.
like none of us have ever done it individually ever.
Right, so we
and so
definitely
like
got it
to come together and reach this goal together
Oh,
for the very
guys.
first time, like was huge for us. It's not like, you know, for former medalists or for former top 10 singers made a quartet and got back in. It's, we made this climb together. Our first contest, we scored a 76 and we've worked our way up. And like, there's a certain amount of pride with that. And like Chris said, like we've looked up to all of these people so long.
Oh yeah.
And we've been in the seats for the 20 so many times, not missing a single one. You know, like we love it.
Yeah.
And to
You say
be
the
up there,
20.
yeah.
And it's like a thing. It's like when you've made it.
You know, the seats are filled, and that feeling of walking out and the roar was different than quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And you know, to see judges like we saw, I think it was Alan Gordon posted, this 20 was my favorite round ever. It was amazing, and like to see someone of his level of like judging experience and quartet experience to say that was like, wow, it was really cool to be a part of that and to feel
all the quartets that are there, and this is gonna sound so trite, but it's reflected in the scores. Everybody in the barbershop world has stepped their game up. Like the things that got you in the 20 however many years ago, no shade, won't do it anymore. So like we know that we've earned it, and we look at our peers and we're like, those guys are awesome. We love them. Like we fangirl over our peers a lot. So just again to be in the same room with them, share the same stage, we're like,
It was surreal just being backstage for the second night and seeing all of those great quartets also in the pattern. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe we're here. This is so cool.
I remember seeing Oxley back there, like they were, he was backstage and he kind of like pointed us. I'm like no way. No, it was cool. Like we sang early enough, and it was nice because I don't think I could have lasted any longer on the call off. Like we're sitting there, we're like, if we would have gone like 4 more quartets, I would have jumped out of my skin to like know if we made it or not. But you know, going early enough where we're able to come back out and see some of the 20, it was like, holy crap, guys, we just did that. Like,
I'm glad I didn't see that before I performed.
Like, it's like,
they're
man,
so
you sit there and you're like, man, these quartets are really good. We're not that good.
They're so cool.
So like to sit there and be like, you know, we're kind of in this mix of people, you know, yeah, we're at the bottom of this 20 right now, but my goodness, like everyone was good and so much fun to watch and have friends up there too that you're rooting for and you want them to do their best as well. So yeah, it was a crazy experience. Semis was awesome.
We were rooting for you.
Yeah, that was super fun. So now I can't have an interview with you guys without asking about the chanting. This has been such an interesting thing that I feel like, I mean, I've only been to 2 internationals. Last year was my first one. So when I saw that happen, I was like, oh, this is like a cool thing that they do. And then it happened every single time. And I'm like, this is awesome. And then I came back this year and I was like, it's happening every single time. So that was super exciting for me as like a fan and person like, oh, this is like a new thing for me. And so what has it been like for you guys? And also, do you know how it began? Because I tried asking around. I haven't found a definitive answer. Do you know that answer?
Like 8 different friends.
I was gonna say there's like
at least
there's like 3 people who have claimed to have started it,
and
so,
I think all of them. Like I don't, because it is. That's why it's so magical, because we couldn't have if we would have tried to make that happen. How cringe is that, right? But the fact that people did it out of just sheer boredom and things trying to do between, you know, but it just kind of happened, and that's why we're so thankful. If anybody claims it, we thank you too, because it's cool.
We don't care. It's like we had this lightning in a bottle, so we knew we wanted to do something silly for Cleveland, and
but
it's already over.
We almost didn't. Well, no. So we did an ad in Charlotte, and it was just a photo with a QR code. It was fine.
It's kind of
like
a last minute thing.
I don't know I don't know if we gained anything from it, but like, hey, people saw our name all week, cool. And then the next year we did a video. Matt's girlfriend is a fantastic videographer, and so she did it, and we had no idea that it would turn into what it did. And I almost was like, should we? It's like we could save a couple $100, and you know, I don't know what we're gaining. And I'm so glad I didn't say that. Because it ended up being the hilarious meme that people knew our names. So.
And this is why his girlfriend's so talented. She does it professionally. I'm gonna not say her name, you know, just to protect her identity. But she does it professionally. So doing this for us on the side, like obviously, if you ever get to look at it again, the quality is super high. But the reason she was so talented is because she does this drawing people's personality out, like. She would just give us a prompt and just let us riff for a few seconds, and then she found the best parts of us. She managed to get Chris smiling, which that's amazing.
It doesn't happen.
And just, I mean, that's where the magic was, I think, because she just knew how to. We just wanted to make sure people knew who we were, and it just gave us a little snippet into who we really were. So
and then once we had that kind of
template,
we had the template, but it, like organically the what happened in Louisville happened, and then we're like, how we have to make it better. And so we did, you know, we came to Cleveland like a month before international, and we shot in Cleveland, and you know, everyone stayed with me, and Kyle stayed with his family in Cleveland. It's like, it was great, you know, to be able to like play off of that, because someone like decided to start chanting our names. So we kept the same like cadence and just replaced the shots with stuff in Cleveland, and you know. And
now it's becoming a thing, and I'm not like trying to claim that, but I'm like, you saw a lot of different ads this time that were funny, that kind of played on meme culture. There's the one where the QR code hits the corner, which is like an old Office reference. So smart, right? Like the fact that even people are thinking about how can I use this as an opportunity to be funny or just show my personality. I love that for barbershop, right? Because it used to just be book us on your show.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
It's such a long week, and like those get seen so many times that you're getting exposure if nothing else. But the number of people who are like,
Well,
can't wait to see your video again. Can't wait to see what you do this year. Like it was pretty cool. Like just
so
to
if you have
a
any
little bit,
ideas,
little bit of buzz. And our joke was like one year they're gonna know us for more than just our ad. Like that's our joke.
hey, however you get your foot in the door,
Right. So maybe that swayed the judges a little bit. I don't know.
Don't let them know.
Like, oh, I know these guys. Okay. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's been great.
That's funny. Yeah, I love that. I think my favorite part was that how you could tell everyone loved doing it, because sometimes when the announcer would come on while it was happening, and then they would like stop everyone from doing it, everyone would be like, "Oh," and you could people would be like, "No, you stopped it," like in the middle of it. Yeah, that's super fun. So I want to ask about some of your contest sets. So there might not be a good answer to this, but was there any like particular reason why you decided to do the set you did last year for the quarterfinals for the semifinals this year?
I think it goes back to what we said earlier about new music just feeling a little bit more exciting. In addition to, I think that those songs in prelims scored really well, and so we felt like we have to put our best stuff out there first, and that happened to mean that those songs that we sang last year would get sung second if we were to make it. So yeah, we just kind of we felt like CC was really strong. It showcased personality really well, and Waltz Sweatpants surprised all of us, I think, at prelims with how well it went. And I think that was our first real experience of like, wow, we really just let go. That song's not as polished, but it was I think it was our highest scoring song. So
I don't think I felt as strongly in any way on stage as I have with this quartet as I did during that song. And so that I think that came through. And we've always had a habit of saying like whatever's singing the best is what goes on stage, and that has changed. It might change in the days, weeks leading up to international. So we've always kept our, we're not like dogmatic about it's got to be this, whatever feels good.
Apparently, I've never had this happen with a quartet, but the year I was not with them, they had their 2 songs picked out for Salt Lake City, and like, didn't you say like in the warm-up room, you're like, actually, we're gonna do
No, we were still back at the house, but
We were still back at the house, but like 2 days ahead of the contest, we changed the song.
Let's sing this one. We were singing a song to warm up, and we're like, let's do this one instead. Okay.
Have never had that. That freaks me out.
Oh, of course, and you're a planner, I'm a planner. It was literally a case of, well, this you'd be dumb not to at this point because it's just singing better.
I mean, and there's also like, we don't want to sing the same set that we did last year. Like,
I feel a lot
being
of
on the
pressure.
outside of the 20, if we're doing that again, we get the same 2 videos posted. They only hear these 2 songs from us. Like, we don't want to be a one-trick pony. Like, let's sing some new stuff. And it did score really well. And it's new arrangements. It's what we've been working on the most. It's the freshest and stuff that was like, that was the very first time we performed it for anybody was at prelims, like our ballad. And so that vulnerability and that freshness was something that definitely contributed to the score on it, I think. Because it was a little bit still raw and we needed more rehearsal on it, but it was honest and it was new.
Yeah, they've done a lot of work helping me even be better than I am, because if I had my druthers, I would never sing the same 2 songs. Druthers.
Keith Mingo.
Yeah, sure. I apparently say druthers well. If like I really don't want people to see the same thing, because I'm always afraid. The quartet we were in before, I thought people were trolling us. They'd be like, "Sing Sweet Pea," because it's like the only song we knew. And I just got into my head that
it was just our best song, and people
they're
wanted to hear
trolling
it.
you. They're making fun of you. So
yeah,
they've helped me relax. It's okay to sing some stuff.
But people don't hear us very many times throughout the year, and like as an audience member, I'll sit back and I'll be like, man, I want to hear Quorum sing "Do I Love You," or I want to hear, you want to hear Vocal Spectrum do "Go the Distance," or like
every song.
Right. We all say different.
But we like, people want to hear us sing our best stuff too, even if they've heard it before or something. Like, I'm sure they want to hear our songs, and like, there's nothing wrong with that, especially when we only sing for people a few times a year. So getting out there and putting our best foot forward is definitely something
And we
we
can
try to
sing
do.
for you if you book us on your show.
Whoa,
Wow.
smooth.
Yeah,
You
nice.
see that segue?
Snuck it right in there, didn't you?
It was seamless.
That's a good point. Yeah, if anyone is watching and you want to book them, all that stuff is in the description. All the links to all their stuff, and there'll also be a few videos of their performances in the description. So go look at that. Thank you for mentioning that. So I want to mention, you had mentioned Waltz for Sweatpants. That was my
Yeah.
favorite performance you guys had, and it speaks to a lot of what you were talking about. And it's such an interesting song, just in general. I mean, it's an incredible song, obviously. But I'm wondering what, I guess, probably for Kyle, but if anyone has any like thoughts about what brought that song to your quartet, and what was the process like to be like, we're gonna do this kind of song, and then what was it like to rehearse a song that's so at least a little bit different than what you guys might normally do.
That was me and Kyle talking on the side, and I was like, I really think this can work. I love this song. I mean, I love Cody Fry. I knew that Kyle loved Cody Fry, so maybe I was playing to his sympathies, but I was like, man, there's something about this song, and I just feel like it's this sort of like genre of pop, sort of like symphonic sort of stuff has not really been touched. It's untapped. And so I mentioned it, and he was like, yeah, let's go.
Immediately, yeah, listening to it, like I said, like, could this work for Trademark? Could this work for Trademark? And I was like, yeah, I really like this a lot. This could be cool. So yeah, Cody Fry went to the same college that I did, Belmont. He was a couple years older, so I don't know. I thought that would be cool. Like, I didn't think anyone knew about him. I think he's gotten big on TikTok now, so I think he's more well known. But
You knew him before he was cool.
I knew him before he was cool, when he was the star child of Belmont. But yeah, I think I always appreciate quartets that not only one bring new music, but it's a ballad that's not about love. And I think that is part of the appeal of it. There are a ton of songs about love, and there will always be a lot of songs about love. But a song like that, or Santa Fe, or, there's probably a bunch of others, but there's not as many where it's not explicitly about love. So I thought that was really cool. And then we found out later, once we decided to sing it, that it connected to this desire that we had as a quartet to like let go, let them think that we're just a little weird. Honestly, we probably are. So it was like, let's be ourselves up there. Let's like truly let go and trust that that's going to be enough for people. So I think, I don't know, maybe it was Chris that mentioned that, but I was like, wow, that's really beautiful. And I think that made me enjoy it even more.
And I mean, it's the same things that we look for now. We're like, can the audience find themselves in the story pretty quickly? Is there something that happens differently at the end than it started? Like, what's the story that happens? I know that sounds, cliche, but it's definitely true. Like, in plain words, and this has always been barbershop, right? Like, I want to plainly say how I'm feeling, and I want you to feel the same way too. And Cody just did a great job with the lyrics. Like, it's just very to the point. You get it very quickly, which really helped. And even when we're looking for new music, we're like, does this have the same build and story arc that Waltz did?
Yeah, there was just a lot about it that was unique. It was in 3/4, like had a cool key change type thing in the middle. So a lot of it I thought was really, really neat. And going back to like getting songs for a whole quartet, I know there wasn't, not all four of us were like, absolutely, let's do it. There was a little bit of trust from some people who were like, I don't know, maybe that'll work. And I think we've slowly at different times come to like fall in love with it for different reasons. So something that I think a lot of quartets probably experience when they're picking music. Yeah. But yeah, we love it. It has quickly come to the top of one of our favorite songs.
And even deciding to like sing a song, you have to first decide, okay, I think you should arrange it. I think you should spend your time and energy arranging it. I think we should all learn it. Can you make us tracks? Can you put the spots? Can we put the rehearsal time in just to see if it's going to be a fit, right? So a lot of we've over time learned like everybody feels pretty good about this. I'm not a screaming yes yet, but I got to invest in it just because my boys want it, and I bet they're going to have my back. And lo and behold, like they usually do, right? So we've learned that as a quartet as well. Like put in the work. Do the stuff. Don't try to veto it or decide, is this going to be the next vehicle before you even give it a shot? Because until you start singing it, you don't really know how it's gonna sing.
Yeah.
One funny story about that song.
Yeah.
The words "Waltz for Sweatpants" are never spoken in the title. So at both prelims and at international, we're walking off stage. We're like hugging. That was such a good hit. I'm so happy. And the contest administrator, the people who do like the scores input or whatever, they like run backstage to come find us.
Oh,
And they're like, stop, 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 stop. And we turn around. And they go,
Are you disqualifying
They go,
us?
DQing us.
they're like, what song was that? Because in our online thing, we put all the songs that are in our rep that are legally cleared, and that's in there. But they're looking through the list, and they're like, I don't know what song that was. I didn't hear Waltz for Sweatpants, so it's not that. So they're going through it, and we were like, oh no, I promise, it's Waltz for Sweatpants. So twice in a row that has happened, and we've had to clarify, like,
That
no.
freaked me out at international.
Oh, international.
We
was
should
the
just put
worst.
the
I was
words
like,
"waltz for sweatpants" in the tag.
Yeah,
Sweatpants.
Just put a button on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, and I wanted to give a chance to Kyle. You had mentioned in one of the interviews at International a little story about having seen Cody Fry. You just like briefly talk about that.
Yeah, I think that was a sign that we would achieve our goals at international.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Nashville, where he lives, I presume, and
That's where you live.
where I live as well.
Also.
And
Weird.
was at a coffee shop and was walking out, and I have a young daughter now, and so I noticed things that I didn't used to care about, like strollers. So I looked down, I was like, oh cool, that's the same stroller we have. And I look up, and it was Cody Fry, and it happened so fast. He walked right by me, and we have some mutual friends, so I shouldn't have felt like I just looked at like Tom Cruise or something, but I kind of did. And once I got in my car, I was like, how stupid was I? I should have told him, like, we're gonna sing your song.
We're about to butcher your song next
in
week.
this barbershop quartet contest, and he would have been like, okay, see ya.
Oh yeah. I love that we assume that he wouldn't be like, oh, that's awesome that somebody's arranging my stuff.
He would have been
He
flattered.
would have been flattered at that. I
Yeah.
just feel that about
But
him.
Kyle was too busy.
Right. He just went by so,
Mr. Fry. I'm so nervous.
went by so
I've had French
quickly.
fries before.
And I was like, maybe it's a sign. Maybe that's a good thing. You know, we should be singing Waltz for Sweatpants in the first
He
round.
tried to cover his obvious social faux pas by saying it's a sign, but that's fine.
It's a sign.
It's a sign. I was very nervous,
Well-
but it's
It worked, so that's awesome. So just before we wrap up here, this has been really awesome. I want to do a few little rapid fire questions. They could, if you don't want them to be rapid fire, you can talk more about them. But
Let's do it.
yeah, so
Let's go.
let's go. I want to go from actually. We'll start with Matt. I'll ask you 3 questions, and I'll ask everyone pretty much the same 3 questions. Matt, what's your favorite barbershop tag?
Ooh. I really like to sing a tag called Dinah. I sing it. Mark Lang and his kids always want to sing it with me from Mom's Favorite. So we sang it at International, but I do it everywhere. It's really easy tag, and it rings like crazy. So
yeah.
we like to do that one.
Awesome. And what's your favorite barbershop convention you've been to?
Ooh. I really enjoyed my very first one, and I wasn't competing at all. I took the Amtrak out to Denver, and I watched every single performance in 2007, every single one from my assigned seat. I was such a nerd. But it was my very first one, and it was crazy. I rode out with a friend that I had met at Harmony Camp, and I saw him for the first time since then in Cleveland. He was there singing with Westminster. He lives in California now. So it was pretty crazy, kind of full circle moment. But that was my first one, and it was because there was no stress. I wasn't competing. I just got to take it all in and enjoy really good barbershop all week. So it was cool.
Awesome. Cool. And last question for you. What's your least favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, geez. I don't know.
Matt eats all the ice cream.
I like ice cream. I would say I don't really like anything with toffee. I'm not like a big toffee person. So
Really?
if it's got
You
like
look like a toffee guy to me.
like toffee pieces, I'm out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's good to know.
Or mint chocolate. I don't really care for.
That's a
But
device.
but probably toffee.
Toffee.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Chris, what's your favorite barbershop tag?
I would probably say When the Green Leaves of Summer.
Or calling me.
Or calling me home. Calling me home.
Nice. And what's your favorite convention you've been to?
I would just probably say The Portland convention where the KVU medaled. It just has a special place in my heart, of course. And it was a great convention city. I love Portland. I've been to a lot, and I think that's probably one of my favorites for sure.
Awesome. And last question for you. How many meals do you normally eat in a day?
2.
Let's go.
That's a good question.
2. Lunch
2.
and dinner. Yeah, I rarely eat breakfast unless I know something's coming up where I probably should eat breakfast.
Do you think you're better than me?
He is.
No,
He is. No.
I only eat 2 meals, so.
Okay, cool. And Kyle, what's your favorite barbershop tag?
All the things you are, Bluegrass Student Union, because it's quiet and beautiful.
Nice. And what's your favorite convention you've been to?
Pittsburgh 2015, because I loved the surprise of Instant Classic winning. That was the most fun call-off I have heard.
Awesome. And last question for you. What's your favorite color?
Orange. Always has been.
Me too. I've never heard someone else say that, give that answer. Oh my gosh, I love the color orange. Okay. Okay. And lastly, Keith, what's your favorite barbershop tag?
The last one I sang is Sunny Boy. I don't have favorites, but that's the last one I sang.
That's fair. And what about convention you've been to?
The last one, because it's the one that happened most recently. Every time I go, I like something new happens and I fall in love.
Yeah.
And I remember. So.
And last question for you. What's your second favorite movie?
Second favorite movie would be
So great.
Stargate.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here. Before we wrap up, are there any things you want to say to an audience, to people who are watching you? Anything at all?
We love you.
Yeah, we love you. We love Barbershop. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far.
Yeah.
And we hope to see many of you during our travels or at conventions at some point soon.
Please come say hi. Please come sing tags.
Hopefully we make some new friends to this studio. If you have seen this, come find us. We'd love to sing a tag with you, just meet you and talk with you.
Yeah, and if you're not yet like a barbershopper who is watching this video, you should try it or go to a chorus or go to a convention. Just check it
No
out.
crash.
It's super fun. You make amazing friends and Matt and make great music.
Yes.
Classic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yes. And if you're watching this and you haven't heard too many of their stuff, there are going to be links in the description. You can watch their videos. You can book them for shows. You can find them on social media platforms. And you should do that because they're awesome and they want to sing on your show. So thank you so much for being here. This has been a total blast. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have an awesome day.
This is awesome.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks.